Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's episode, we'll be taking a look at visual hierarchy in photography and discussing how rank, sequence, and movement can impact and elevate your composition. If you're new here, this channel is on a mission to empower photographers to learn and grow to their next level. So if you are a photographer, a photo lover, freelancer, or even professionals and looking to get to your next step, this is probably the place to be. In each episode, we will be looking at one art vocabulary, breaking it down to the best practice, mindsets, and tips to integrate it into your photography so that you can use it in your day-to-day practice. So without further ado, let's dive right into today's episode on visual hierarchy. So you might have heard of this word, but what does it exactly mean in terms of art, design, and photography? It's very much integrated into our daily lives. You can see it in a lot of layouts, in a lot of restaurants menu, in a lot of advertisements, in newspaper, photographs, and how all these are put together. A very important concept to really get good at, and you want to express your most important message out. To create visually captivating images, it's very important to understand the role hierarchy plays in photography. Hierarchy refers to the arrangement of elements in a composition based on their relative importance. This helps guide the viewer's eye through the image to ensure the most important subject or element stands out. There are three key aspects to consider when establishing hierarchy in your photos, and they are rank, sequence, and movement. Tip number 1, rank. Emphasizing importance. Rank refers to the order of importance of different elements in your composition. By using techniques such as contrast, scale, or focus, you can emphasize the most important elements and create a clear hierarchy in your photos. We're going to take a look at some examples while I continue to elaborate on this. By using contrast, you can actually use the differences in color, brightness, or textures to draw attention to key elements. Things such as warm and cool, brighter areas or darker areas, perceptive differences to really make things stand out, or sink back. And with scale, it's pretty obvious. You make the most important elements larger. Something that's more prominent will become more significant in your composition. And with focus, you can use a shallow depth of field to keep the most important elements in sharp focus, while blurring out the background or keeping the less important elements out of focus. Tip number 2, sequence. Guiding the eye. Sequence involves arranging elements in a way that guides the viewer's eye in a specific order. Now, these can be achieved by using leading lines or arranging things in a particular pattern. Leading lines use natural or man-made lines such as the light box behind me, the table, the edge of a building, the branch of a tree to direct the viewer's eyes towards the main subject. Patterns uses repetition of elements to create a sense of rhythm that implies a particular direction towards one way or the other. This helps the viewer's eyes to actually go through an image in a particular direction as well. Tip number 3, movement. Creating dynamic composition. Movement adds a sense of dynamism and energy to your images. But here by movement, I'm only referring to the eye movement of your viewer. Once you've established rank and sequence, a visual path has been created. In another sense, the outcome of hierarchy is to create a visual path for the eye to follow. Visual path refers to the arrangement of elements in a way that encourages the viewer's eye to move from one point to another, such as a trail of objects or a curve of a landscape, for example. And by doing so, the image carries a particular subtle dynamism that only happens in the mind or the heart of the viewer. If you're enjoying this video and have learned something new, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and turn on notifications to see my next new video when it comes out. Okay guys, here's the +1 tip. Simplicity is key. There's always a time to do storytelling, but with photography, a huge part of the story is completed in the imagination of the viewer. And so treat your photographs, your subjects, your elements as you would plan the content page of a book. Not the words, but the content page. By doing so, they actually act as signals to point the viewer to the right direction of how to imagine the story would unfold. Treat it not as the words that complete the story, not the information, not all the details, but the content page. And this way of thinking, you can use hierarchy effectively in your photography. So here's the take-home tip: ruthless framing. Photography is an act of trimming off irrelevant information or removing things that will weaken your message. Practice framing by thinking about how to crop things out and experiment with the amount of negative space needed as a cushion for your main subject. No need to worry about all the other elements because all things that are least in rank will just all fall into place naturally. With that, I will leave you to the question: do we always have to be this rational and organized with our compositions and thinking about rank, sequence, and movement? Or can a simple photograph be just as powerful and impactful to your viewer when they see it without thinking all of that, being so controlled? What's your answer? Leave a comment down below and let me know your take on that. And so there you have it, using rank, sequence, and movement to create hierarchy in photography. By mastering these concepts, you would be able to create visually engaging images that will lead the viewer's eyes and tell a powerful visual story. Don't forget to practice and experiment. The more you do, the better you'll get. And don't forget to tag me on Instagram at gabrielleung.jpg. So to understand hierarchy even further, go watch this video to see how you can use negative space to create simple but powerful images by understanding just these few tips. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.